Alright, this video is a review of arithmetic sequence and series. So an arithmetic sequence is a set of ordered numbers that's called a sequence. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence in which each term after the first is a sum of the preceding terms and a constant, which means you're either adding a number from the first to get the second to get the third, so forth and so on. You can add a positive number and you can even add a negative number. It says in general, if the nth term of the arithmetic sequence is represented by a sub 1, then this is the formula that would help you to write the sequence. Okay, so what is a common difference in arithmetic sequence? A common difference is what are you adding from one term to get to the other? Well, it looks in this case that I'm going up by 5, so my common difference, which is a D, is 5. What do you think the common difference for number 2 would be? Instead of going up, you're going down, so what are you adding to go down? You're adding a negative number. Which negative number would that be? It would be 6. All right, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 asks, find the 15th term of the sequence. Well, they gave you the actual formula to use for this specific sequence, and they want the 15th term. So your n is 15. So when I fill it in, I have a sub 15, which is the 15th term, would be a negative 1 times 15 minus 1, or raised to the 15 minus 1 power, which is 14, times 15 squared. So it would be negative 1 to the 14th power times 15 squared. And if you put that in the calculator, you would end up with 225. So the 15th term of a specific sequence, which we don't know, is 225. Let's do a couple more. Write the first 3 terms of the following sequence. Okay, they want the first 3 terms. So n in this case is going to be a 1 for the first term, which would be 1 squared minus 1, which happens to be 0. There's the first term. So a sub 2, 2 being the n, would be the second term, which would be 2 squared minus 1, which is 3. And a sub 3 would be 3 squared minus 1, which is 8. So the first 3 terms of that sequence would be 0, 3, and 8. It's easy when they give you the formula to plug in. You just have to know n stands for what term you're looking for. Number 5 is a little harder. Number 5 is when they want you to write the rule. And writing the rule entails a formula, and the formula is not given on the formula sheet. Okay? So it's something you have to know. And it would be a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Remember, n is the term you're looking for. A sub 1, so they have a 1 there, which means that would be your first term. And d is your common difference. What are you adding from one to the other? Well, a sub n is what term you're looking for. We don't know what term we're looking for, so we're going to keep that as an n. A sub 1 is the first term, which we know is 5. Plus, we don't know what n is again, because again, we don't know what term we're looking for, and we don't know how many terms there are. Minus 1, and my d in this case is what are we adding by? We're going up by 6, because it's arithmetic, so it's 6. So there's my formula. Now, use the rule to find the next 3 terms. Okay, so right now we have the first term, the second, the third, and the fourth. So we need the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. So we need a sub 5, a sub 6, and a sub 7. Okay, so a sub 5 would be 5 plus, now we have our n, 5 minus 1 times 6, which is 5 plus 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So the 5th term is 29. All right, let's do the 6th term. So now we know our first term again is still 5, but this time our n is what? You're right, 6. minus 1 times 6. So 5 times, my mistake, it's a plus. Forgot my plus sign. 5 plus 6 minus 1 is 5 times 6 is 30. So my sixth term is 35. And a sub 7 would be 5 times, because that's my first term, or 5 plus 7 minus 1 times 6, which would be 5 times, or 5 plus, I keep saying times, it's 5 plus 7 minus 1 is 6 times 6, which is 36, which would give me 41. Now, I had to do it that way because they told me to use the rule I found in the above part. But if I didn't have a rule, how else could I have done this? Well, if they didn't tell me to find the rule and they gave me the first 4 terms and they wanted the next 3 terms, all I had to do was figure out what I was going up by, and I was going up by the 6. I could have said, okay, so if I'm at 23 and I add 6, I'm at 29. If I add 6, I'm at 35. If I add 6, I'm at 41. So this would be the 5th term, the 6th term, the 7th term. So it just all depends on what they ask you to use and how you have to find it. But a common difference means you're adding. Alright, the last thing on this for arithmetic sequences and series is the sum. This formula is given to you on the formula sheet. It's S sub n, n meaning how many terms. N times a plus 1 times a sub n. A plus 1 is the first term, a sub n would be whatever the last term is. Okay? And the whole thing divided by 2. Well, let's take a look at this. Find the sum of the following. I could either add it with my calculator or I could do it with the formula. Well, adding with the calculator is easy. Let's do it with the formula. So, S sub n. N means how many terms. I count them up, I have 5 terms. Equals 5, because now I know my n, times a sub 1, which is the first term, plus a sub n, which is the 5th term, so that's 17, over 2. If I put that in the calculator, I end up with 55. Okay, let's do number 2. Find the sum of 10 terms in an arithmetic sequence whose first term is 5, so that's a sub 1, and whose 10th term, a sub 10, is negative 13. So I know it's 10 terms, so it's S sub 10. 10 is my n, so 10 times the first term is 5, plus the 10th term is a negative 13. All divide by 2, put it in the calculator, and I end up with a negative 40. So there's a little review on arithmetic sequence and series.